right off the top, Tony, you were mentioning something off air, and we'd like to believe that everything in this world is good and we can all live in a very peaceful and enjoyable life, but sometimes things happen, and sports is probably the ultimate polarity between joy and sadness, and in some cases it's tragedy. Tony, tell us the story that you were telling us off air about a young hockey player in Ottawa who's facing quite an uphill challenge now.
Yeah, he's a hell of a kid, Neil Doef. He plays for the Smith Falls Bears in the local Central Junior Hockey League. The Central Junior Hockey League has had, some amazing alumni: Steve Yzerman, Billy Smith, Larry Robinson, Dan Boyle. The list goes on. So it's the Tier 2 junior, but it's sort of that stepping stone that kids use to either go on to play major junior. Obviously, try to get an NCAA scholarship. This kid was a consummate kid, well-rounded. He's a very bright kid. He actually just committed to going to Princeton. He's 17 years old. He made the Canada East Junior A team, and they're competing in just outside of Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, in the World Junior A Hockey Challenge. And unfortunately, hockey, a high-risk game, high speed. A physical hit was taken, and unfortunately, he went into the boards hard. And right now, he's again resting in a hospital bed. Details are obviously, we're respecting the family, but it was a severe injury, and we're just hoping and praying that that he can come out of this, and with his work ethic and his attitude and the type of player he is and the kid he was, we feel pretty positive that the outcome will be okay. For anybody who's interested, we are doing a lot of fundraising, so you can follow the Doef family at Doef Strong, DOEFSTRONG 97. That's a lot of information, but our whole league is rallying behind this young man, and we wish him nothing but the best in his recovery.
Can you tell me, basically, was the hit clean?
You know what? I do all the communications and media, but you know what? Knowing the outcome, and a father and a parent of a son who played junior hockey, I refuse to actually go on there. I can't. I just can't go on there. Nothing's driving me to watch this because I just know what the outcome was, and I'd rather stay away from it.
All right, so I don't know if you have a chance to pull it up. I don't mean to be graphic about this, but perhaps we can just see it. And in the meantime, you said something very interesting there, that he's already committed to Princeton. So obviously we know this is a very intelligent young man.
Yeah, scored. I don't know what he scored on the SAT, but this is an Ivy League school, so the likes of the Yales and the Harvards and Princeton. It's not. He's obviously a fantastic hockey player, but these are academic scholarships based on financial aid, and he had a very bright future. He was Rookie of the Year in our league, and he was just developing, and I think he was getting to the point where he was on the watch list for the NHL. But just one of those kids that you'd love to have on your team, and a gentleman, and obviously a scholar. And as we said, we just wish nothing but the best. And we've got all 12 teams. When hockey's strong. Hockey is a family. When one player or one team in your league, and actually, you know what, worldwide goes down, it really is a family. And we're rallying behind this young man and his family in the recuperation of his injuries. And
you gave the website, if I got it right, it's doefstrong97.com, DOEF Strong.
Well, it's Doef Strong. I was just going by the actual Twitter. So if people want to do the Twitter, what I'll do is I'll go and do a little homework right now while you have me, and I'll update where people can go and make donations and find out how to support this young man and his family.
Bill, I wanted to ask you, as a person who's been in the game of hockey a long time, you see a young kid on the cusp of being something pretty good, a lot of potential. When something like this happens, I don't know whether you can tell me, would he have an agent at that point, or is he precluded from having an agent because if he's going to college, he's not allowed to have an agent? What's the whole scenario there between that and just a kid playing in the O or the major junior?
He's got a family representative as long as he's eligible for a scholarship, and so they deny having agents, but kids are getting agents at the age of 13, 14 now, so
advisor.
I don't know what this young lad has.
An advisor. Yeah, you're right.
Family advisor.
Yeah.
So again, you're someone that's very close to the scene. When something like this happens, how do you, as an expert or someone who has a background or experience just in the game of hockey, and now we're dealing almost in the game of life, come to the aid of the people who are most affected by it, because if you're dealing with them as an advisor, as an agent, you're going to be involved in the whole process, the emotional process, going forward.
Well, I've gone through 3 of them, and they span a number of years, probably 40 years. In 1974, 75, I think it might have been 73, Craig Neil was a young boy from Vancouver. His father was an Air Canada pilot, and he came to Toronto to play junior hockey with the Marlies, and an inadvertent stick hooked him around the face, and he lost his eye. And that was the end of what was going to be a very promising NHL career. I was in management in Ottawa when Marian Hossa tore Brian Berard's eye out. And that was the worst I've ever seen. I still don't appreciate the skill set of Marian Hossa, because that was a very irresponsible swing at a puck that he would never have hit. It was far away from where any connection could have been made with the puck and the stick. And not that I've never forgiven him, because obviously he didn't do that, but he was not responsible for his stick, and as a result, a boy lost his eye. In this case, Brian Berard, a very successful and good hockey player. And the only other one, and I didn't have any direct connection with this, was when a fan in Niagara Falls threw a penny on the ice, and Jack McMaster, who was a bright and up-and-coming young St. Mike's major, stepped on it, went into the boards, and was paralyzed for life. And, I can see why Tony doesn't want to look at it. My grandson's a pretty good hockey player, and there's always the inherent danger of that happening, and you don't want to be reminded of it. But when you buy into the act, you buy in full. And when things like this happen, you like to think that it was accidental, there was no intent, and it's just part of the game. And unfortunately, I just cited 3 parts. Tony's make 4, and there will be a 5.
As memory serves correct, Greg Neil tried to come back and play hockey. I don't think he did. I know that Brian Berard did come back, and I think isn't there a situation, I know we're getting just specifically about eyes here, but if it's a career-ending injury, they are basically presented with a payment, or whatever you want to call it, insurance money, a settlement,
yes,
to basically take that and not play again. And I think in the case of Brian Berard,
yeah,
you'll have to remind me of this. Did he take the payment and try to play again, or did he not take the payment and try and play again?
I think, Perry, and I don't know this for sure, but I talked to his agent at the time, Tom Laidlaw, and he took some. He forgave some of it that he was entitled to as fully disabled, but he took some.
Mm-hmm.
And not enough. But that's, he aspired to play again and thought he could, and gave up a pile of money.
Tony, we're talking about this individual, this youngster named Neil. Is it Doef? That's
Doef.
Doef, right?
Yeah.
I think what's kind of paralyzing here in the story is that, these are a bunch of teenagers. They're young men. They may be very good at playing hockey, but they would be of the age, of the maturity, or the mentality that they would be emotionally impacted by that. I mean, you're talking about young men, and the responsibility falls upon the shoulders of either the coach or the infrastructure around that team to help this team get through such an emotional crisis. What's it like over there?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. I mean, obviously Hockey Canada has a protocol, and they obviously, this young man is getting the best of attention. It was a Hockey Canada sanctioned event, basically a global event, and he was one of the best players, obviously in the Junior A ranks. So there's a protocol that they're following, and as I said, they flew out both parents to be by his side through his surgery. There was obviously a trauma, a crisis person to deal with the team. Not that it's a death, but again, this is a very severe and serious injury, and even the players that witnessed it, from all accounts, it was pretty graphic with the convulsions and all that. And there's actually team, CCHL, other Central Canada teammates on this All-Star team, and the assistant coach of that Canada East team is the coach of the Smith Falls Bears, who, you know, to credit the character of him, he actually sat beside him and stayed obviously throughout the night. But I think any coach would do that. But to Mark Grady's, that's been the focus of this whole tournament. So your focus really changes from unfortunately the game of hockey to now this young man who's got a real battle ahead of himself. But here locally, really proud to be associated with this league, because every team is basically going to host a Do It for Doef hockey game where they're fundraising for this young man as he's going, because he will be in Saskatoon for a while, and it's an adjustment not only for the players but for everybody in our league, even our own officials, if you can believe it. They're giving up a couple of games' pay and going to direct some funds there. But if I could just say, if anybody is interested, there is an actual email address. They're taking email transfers at doefstrong@gmail.com. DOEF strong STRONG @gmail.com, and it's all over the news. Again, it's something that we're rallying around. From not only a team and league standpoint, but this was a great young man who's even the minor hockey associations here in Ottawa are really bound together.
Is he a Smith Falls boy?
He is a local. This is the story is absolutely wild. He's a local Smith Falls kid. As I said, Ivy League. He's an African Canadian he's a good-looking kid. He's got the big afro. We're laughing because we didn't even know sometimes how he put that. If you saw, maybe if you've got a picture of him, you can show it on the screen. But a great-looking kid. He's got the big afro going, and you can just smile that lights up a room. And as I said, he's a kid that I think if someone's going to make something good at this, he will.